Let's talk about something that most of us were never taught, something that's often made to feel, well, impossibly complicated, when in reality, it's remarkably simple. I'm talking about your money. Today, we're going to walk a path together, a path that leads to financial clarity. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about trading that constant, low-level anxiety for a deep sense of confidence, the kind of clarity that schools don't teach, but that you absolutely can learn. Let's begin. Just let that question sink in for a minute. Think about it. We spend more than a decade learning about historical dates, geometric shapes, the periodic table, all important things, for sure. But what about the one subject that will profoundly impact almost every single choice you make for the rest of your life? On that subject, there's often just silence. Remember getting your first real paycheck, that feeling of pride, of possibility? But then a few months go by, maybe a year, and a different feeling starts to creep in, a sense of confusion. You know you're working hard. You know the money is coming in, but you look at your bank account at the end of the month and you just wonder, where did it all go? You feel like you're on a treadmill. Let me be perfectly clear. This is not a personal failure, it's a systemic one. You were handed a detailed map for almost everything else. Before your own wallet, you were left to find your way in the dark. And this right here, this leaky bucket idea, this gets at the absolute heart of the problem. So many of us believe the solution to our money problems is just to earn more. If I can just get a bigger hose and pour the water in faster, if I can just get that raise or work that side hustle, then I'll be okay. But that logic is flawed if your bucket is full of holes. You can double your income, but if your spending habits, those little leaks, also double, you'll end up in the exact same place, just with more stress. Those holes are the small, almost invisible things. The daily gourmet coffee that adds up to hundreds a month. The streaming service you subscribed to for one show and forgot to cancel. The little impulse buys that whisper, you deserve it. Each one seems tiny, but together they create a constant, silent drain. The real path to financial stability isn't just about earning more. It's about taking the time to patch the holes first. Then, and only then, can you finally start to fill your bucket. So to get there, we're going to follow a very clear, step-by-step roadmap. First, we're going to pull back the curtain and understand why money feels so mysterious to begin with. Then, we're going to completely reframe how we think about it, seeing it as a simple tool. After that, we'll get practical and start building what I call your financial fortress. From there, we'll tackle the big ones, debt and credit, and learn how to master them. And finally, we will unlock the most powerful force for building your future, the incredible power of long-term growth. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Let's step into that fog of confusion that surrounds money and figure out how to clear it away once and for all. This is probably the most important thing to understand. That feeling of being bad with money, that's a story you've been told. It's a narrative that serves a lot of financial institutions that profit from complexity and confusion. Think about it. The world of finance is drenched in jargon, acronyms, complex-sounding products, and an air of exclusivity. It's all designed to make you feel like an outsider, like you need a special guide for every single move. But here's the secret. Beneath all of that noise, all of that deliberate complexity, money operates on a handful of simple, predictable, and timeless principles. Once you see them, once you learn these rules, that feeling of being overwhelmed, it just evaporates. It's replaced by a quiet, steady confidence. You stop being a nervous passenger in your own life, and you become the pilot, firmly in control. And becoming the pilot really starts with one single foundational mindset shift. This is the bedrock. It's a change in perspective that makes everything else we're about to discuss possible. It's about learning to see money for what it actually is. Think about a hammer. Seriously, a hammer isn't good or bad. It doesn't have feelings, it's not mysterious. In the hands of a master carpenter, that hammer can build a beautiful home, a place of warmth, safety, and security. In the hands of someone who is careless or unskilled, it can smash a thumb or damage a wall. The tool itself is completely neutral. Its outcome depends entirely on the person holding it. Money is exactly the same. We load it up with so much emotional baggage, don't we? Fear, guilt, shame, status, envy. But the dollars themselves, they don't care. Money is just an inanimate tool waiting for you to give it a job. And the moment you truly grasp this, the moment you can separate the tool from the emotion, you can finally stop having an emotional relationship with your money and start having a strategic one. And this is what happens when we don't have a strategic relationship with our money. It just wanders. It drifts out of our bank accounts without any real purpose or intention. A tool left lying around in the yard gets rusty. Money without a job gets wasted. It floats away in a stream of small, thoughtless purchases. It evaporates into late fees or credit card interest. It vanishes. And at the end of the month, you're left with that same old question: where did it all go? The very first step towards taking control is to decide that your money will no longer be allowed to wander. You are going to become its director. You are going to give every single dollar a specific, intentional mission. So how do we do that? How do we give our money that clear direction? Well, we start by building a defense. We build a financial fortress. Notice, we're not talking about getting rich quick. We're not talking about risky investments. We are starting with your first, most essential layer of protection against the chaos of the world. We're building a foundation on solid rock. Now, I want you to really look at this slide because we have to reclaim one of the most hated words in personal finance: budget. For most people, that word feels like a cage. It sounds like restriction, punishment, a financial diet where you have to give up everything you enjoy. I want you to throw that idea away. A budget is the exact opposite. A budget is a freedom plan. It's a map that you draw. It's the simple act of looking at what you have and deciding consciously what matters most to you. A budget isn't about saying no to yourself. It's about empowering you to say yes to the things that truly align with the life you want to build. It transforms the question from "where did my money go?" to "here's where I'm telling my money to go." It is the most powerful act of financial clarity there is. So your fortress is built on two non-negotiable pillars, and they have to work together. First, the budget. That gives you clarity. Think of the budget as the architectural blueprint for your fortress walls. It tells you exactly what you have to work with. Second, the emergency fund. This provides stability. The emergency fund is the deep, wide moat around your fortress. It's what protects you from the unexpected attacks that life will inevitably send your way. A sudden car repair, a surprise medical bill, a layoff at work. You need the blueprint and the moat. Without both, your fortress is just a pile of rocks. Please do not underestimate the power of this. An emergency fund is not an investment you hope will grow. It's insurance. It's insurance against making terrible decisions when you're panicked. Let me paint a picture. Your car's transmission fails. It's a $2,000 repair. If you have no savings, that problem is a 5-alarm fire. It's a catastrophe. You might have to rack up high-interest credit card debt or borrow from people you'd rather not. You make desperate choices. But if you have that emergency fund sitting there waiting, the exact same problem is no longer a catastrophe. It's just an inconvenience, a frustrating hassle. That money buys you something more valuable than the repair itself. It buys you breathing room. It buys you the ability to think clearly and solve the problem from a position of strength, not fear. That is the true definition of financial peace of mind. Okay, so once that foundation is built, once your fortress is secure and your moat is full, now we can venture out and learn to handle some of the more advanced tools. It's time to tackle two topics that cause a ton of fear and anxiety: debt and credit. But we're going to strip away that fear and see them for what they really are: just more tools. Let's be crystal clear about your credit score. It is not a grade on your character. It is not a measurement of your net worth or your value as a person. A credit score is simply your financial reputation, summarized as a 3-digit number. It's designed to answer one single question for a potential lender. If we loan this person money, what are the odds they'll pay it back on time as promised? That's it. And that reputation isn't built on luck or magic. It's built on a foundation of boring, simple, repeatable behaviors. You pay your bills on time every single time. You don't max out your credit cards. You build a long history of being reliable. Your credit score is a reputation you build slowly, deliberately, and patiently, brick by brick. This slide right here, this is a distinction that could change your entire financial life, because we're almost never taught that not all debt is the same. There's a universe of difference between debt that drains your future and debt that can help build it. Destructive debt, that's the high-interest credit card debt you used for things that are long gone, like dinners out or clothes that are now out of style. This kind of debt is like a vampire. It literally sucks the life out of your future earnings to pay for your past. It actively works against you. But then there's productive debt. This is using debt strategically. It's borrowing money to buy something that will likely go up in value or increase your ability to earn more. Think of a reasonable mortgage on a home or a student loan for a degree that leads to a great career. One is an anchor dragging you down, the other can be a stepping stone helping you up. Financial maturity is about learning to tell the difference. And this quote just captures the sheer power and danger of that distinction. Later on, we're going to talk about the beautiful, silent magic of compounding interest that builds fortunes, but that magic has a dark, evil twin, and that is high-interest debt that compounds against you. It's a force of nature working in reverse. Trying to save money while carrying high-interest debt is like trying to run up an escalator that's going down, and the escalator keeps speeding up. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that can't work for your future because it's still changed to your past. That is why getting a handle on and ruthlessly eliminating destructive debt isn't just a good idea. It is an absolute, non-negotiable prerequisite to building real wealth. Which brings us to our final and, frankly, most exciting section. We've built our defenses, we understand our tools, we've managed our liabilities. Now we get to switch from playing defense to playing offense. Now we talk about unlocking the true power of growth and actively, intentionally building the future that you want.
First things first, it is absolutely crucial to understand that saving and investing are not the same activity. They are two different tools for two completely different jobs, and you need both. Saving is for safety and for short-term goals. It's your emergency fund. It's the money you're putting aside for a down payment on a house next year. This money needs to be safe, secure, and easy to get to. You are not trying to grow this money. You are trying to protect it. Investing, on the other hand, is all about growth. It is the act of putting your money to work in assets like stocks or real estate that have the potential to grow substantially over a long period of time. This is your retirement money. This is for goals that are 10, 20, or even 40 years away. One tool protects you today, the other tool builds your tomorrow. You need both to be financially healthy.
If you only remember one single concept from our entire time together today, please let it be this one: compounding. It is the quiet, relentless, and truly unstoppable engine of wealth creation. Albert Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. And it's not magic, it's just math. It's the beautiful process where your investments earn a return, and then the next year you earn a return on your original money plus the return from the first year. It creates a snowball effect. It starts off so slowly you barely notice it, but over time, that snowball picks up speed and mass until it becomes an incredible, unstoppable force. And here's the most important part. The most critical ingredient for compounding isn't a huge pile of money, it's a huge pile of time. This chart shows that power in a way that is just staggering. What you're seeing here is proof that when you start investing is dramatically more important than how much you start with. Look at the difference. The person who starts investing a small, steady amount in their early 20s can end up with exponentially more wealth than someone who starts investing a much larger amount in their 40s. Why? Because that early money had decades longer to work, to grow, to snowball, to compound on itself over and over and over again. Every single year you wait to begin is a year that you are robbing your future self of the explosive growth that only time can provide. Time, not market timing or stock picking, is your single greatest financial advantage.
So what does this all mean for you? It means you don't have to be a Wall Street genius. You don't need to try and predict the future or find the next hot stock. The real path to building wealth is paved with discipline and patience, not brilliance and risky bets. It's all about consistency over intensity. It's about setting up small, automatic contributions that happen every single month, every single year, whether the market is up or down. It's like the steady drip of water that, over centuries, can carve the Grand Canyon. Be the water. Let time be your greatest ally, and the results become a near mathematical certainty.
So let's just quickly recap the path we've walked. It's a clear, logical sequence. It all begins with a fundamental mindset shift, seeing money as a neutral tool. Then you play defense. You give that tool a mission with your map, the budget, and you protect yourself with a moat, the emergency fund. With your defenses secure, you learn to master the more advanced tools of debt and credit. And only then, from that position of safety, knowledge, and stability, do you go on offense, putting your money to work to build your future through the unstoppable power of compounding growth. Please remember this above all else. Financial freedom is not a lottery ticket. It's not something reserved for the lucky, the brilliant, or the well-connected. It is an outcome. It is the direct, predictable, and inevitable result of applying a few simple, timeless principles with unwavering consistency. It is available to anyone at any income level who makes the decision to reject the fog of confusion and instead chooses to follow this clear path. The fog is gone. The mystery has been solved. The confusion has been replaced by a clear, simple roadmap. The steps aren't complicated, but they do require a choice. They require you to take action. So the question is no longer what do I do or where do I start? The only question left is the one you see on the screen. The path is now clear. Will you take the first step?